On these days, it seems the less experienced a photographer is, the bigger and the more expensive is his camera. If such assumption is true, then the Canon Powershot S110 camera must be for the savviest photographer. But first, let us unbox the camera. This is the Canon Powershot S110. I bought it for $349 for the Christmas sale. So when the box is open, on the top would be the warranty card, as you can see from here. And underneath is a CD, the manual, the charger, the USB cable, that tree cardboard, and the MB5L battery, which is good for 200 shots. It's a pretty small battery, but it's good enough for such a small camera. This is the lanyard, and that is the camera itself. The Canon S110 is the same as the Canon S100, has a 12 megapixel, but it has Wi-Fi instead of the GPS. On first setup, it will ask you for date and time. After that, you need to enter the time zone. When all is ready, the camera will be ready to use. So let us now go through all the features quickly. This is a Canon Powershot S110. Now, don't mistake this with the similarly named Canon Powershot Elph S110, which has a lower price and more megapixel. You might be wondering why one would pay more to get less megapixel. Well, imagine two cakes, one big, one small. The smaller cake is divided into 60 million pieces, and the bigger cake is divided into 12 million pieces. Just because you have more pieces does not mean your cake is bigger. That's why people pay more for less megapixels, mainly because the cake, or in this case, the sensor, is actually bigger. The peers for Powershot S110 are more likely to be Panasonic RX7, Olympus XZ2, Nikon Coolpix 7700, Sony Rx100, and Canon's own Powershot G15. Of all the cameras I mentioned previously, Sony Rx100 has the biggest sensor and the best image quality, but it's also the most expensive. The main reason I bought the Canon S110 is because it's on sale for $350 and the Sony Rx100 cost $700 at the time. In other words, I'm cheap. On the front of the camera, it does not have a lens cap, so it's automatically, when you turn it on, you're automatically on, and then when you turn it off, it goes back to there. On the top here is the flash. The flash is very small, so when you turn it on automatically. You can push it down, but it's better to just use the button to push it down. Here's the on-off button. The on-off button is very good position, so that it's easy to press on and off, but it's not easy to accidentally activate it. And here's the shutter, and here's to control the zoom. Here's the mode dial. The mode dial it has the standard PASM mode. It has the auto mode. It has only one custom mode, unless the G15 it has it has two custom mode, but this one S110 only have one custom mode. It has movie mode, filter, scenic mode, and a very baffling movie digest mode. Is to taking short clips. I am not very sure why they make it a special mode. Okay, so that's the top of the camera. On the side, you can see there's a mini HDMI inlet, and there's a USB cable. This is for transferring image, but you can also transfer image through Wi-Fi. So at the back there's 4 buttons here, and also a mode dial, 4 directional mode dial. So this is the ring function. You can by default it will be, when you press it once, it will you will set it so that you can choose the ring function in the front. So here is the ring dial. It's very clicky, so you can turn it quickly, or you can use it to adjust ISO or other settings. Here's another dial. There's two dials. So this dial you can customize, but this dial you cannot. So in the, say for example, PASM mode, in the aperture it will be control the aperture. So this is the aperture mode, and this is to control the aperture, and this is the shutter priority mode, and then this is to control the shutter priority. If it's in the manual mode, by default is control the shutter, but if you press the display button once, if you press the exposure button once, then you will control the aperture. So at the back, this ring function is also used as a delete button in the playback mode. Here is the play button. You press once. You don't need to turn on the camera. You can the camera can be off position, and then you can press it once, and then you will you will play the reveal the image. Here's the menu button. Press it once and it brings up the detail menu. It also have a quick menu. So when you are when you're shooting a picture, you can click on the quick the center button here, and you will bring up the quick menu, and it has all those features in there. So just talk about the detail menu. The detail menu has 3 columns. The first column will be just the regular settings for the camera, and the second column is control day and time, those initial settings. And the third one is customizable. So you can choose up to 5 menu settings, and then you can select what you like to do. So this ring function, I usually set it, you can also customize as a shortcut. So I usually set it to the ring function. Okay, so set ring function. Okay, I usually set it to automatic white balance. So when press, I can point at a white object, and then you will set the automatic white balance. I think that's the most useful feature. You can also set to other stuff like autofocus, adjust, eye contrast, ISO, etc., etc. But I think that one is the most useful one. And as for the ring front, the rings on the front, I usually set it as a ISO. So when you turn the ring in the front, you will adjust the ISO. One thing to notice is it is a little bit minor delay when you turn the ring on the front, and before you can see the changes at the back. And also the other thing is when you set it to ISO, it does not change from say 100 to 200 directly. There's some intermediate steps in the in between. So it's a 125, 160 before it reach 200. In other camera, you can actually set it to 100 to 200 directly, but this camera it does not. So it only allow you to change it step by step, which is still fine because this dial is pretty easy to change. The other thing is about the battery. The battery most of the time is it goes from 3, that means full, to 1 pretty much quite quickly. It does not stay at 2 very quick for very long, maybe just a couple picture. So I guess it's just so just beware when you are just have one grid left for the battery. You can still shoot about 50 images, so it's still okay. So the other thing is about the touch screen. So you can use the touch screen to do the autofocusing. You also can use the touch screen to do the shutter. I mean to activate the shutter. So by for example, I can say touch shutter. I can set it to on. So next time when you touch the screen, you will automatically take the picture with that focus, so which is very handy. So the touch screen is very useful in this kind of stuff because previously you have to adjust the shutter position manually. I think you can still do that. You can still do that with if you so inclined it, you can still use this to control the focus point, but that's probably not very useful. This is the exposure compensation mode during shooting, and the Wi-Fi to the button to activate the Wi-Fi when you are during the playback. So when I'm shooting, I can. So this is to adjust the exposure compensation, but you can also, by pressing the menu, you can adjust the bracketing. So right now I have to set it to plus and -1 bracketing. So when I shoot, it will shoot 3 images. So one overexposed, one underexposed, and then one regular. So here's the display button. By pressing 1, you can change between the display mode. You can also customize by display if you want. If you don't want to have so many functions in there, if you don't want to have so many information around, you can also disable those. So this is the automatic, the electronic leveler. So it's just to make sure that when you are shooting horizontally. So during the playback mode, if you press the display button, you will switch between all those different modes. And they also have a dedicated movie button, so in any time you can press the movie button and you will start recording. And the movie quality is actually pretty good because it's even better than my Canon SLR, because it has a better macro capability. It has a 3 cm macro, that's 20 cm for my lens. So the movie is actually pretty amazing. So press it once and then you can turn it on and off. The movie mode would depends on the white balance and those kind of things. It depends on which mode you are in. So you might be you might be able to set the white balance or ISO manually. At the bottom is the battery cover and also the tripod. So the SD card is also the same as the when you turn it off, you can see the SD card is also here. And the battery, this is a no-name battery I bought from eBay. It actually lasts pretty well. It's almost as good as the original battery. It's only slightly less capacity. It costs about $7. So don't buy the cheapest one if you want to buy from eBay. Those are not very good. The one with the packaging are usually better. So this one is okay. So that's it about the features for the S110. Overall, it's a very good control, very neat camera. Yeah, the mode dial is not as good as the G15, but it's pretty handy for camera of this size. And I especially like the mode dial in the front, because you can customize it to whatever you want, and also the shortcut button here, and you can also customize this button. Those are very useful features. The Wi-Fi is very easy to set up between the S10 and Android or other smartphone or tablets, but it's kind of difficult or tricky to set up with the desktop. But once it is set up, it is very easy to use. For example, you can connect the gesture with the to activate the Wi-Fi. So in order to transfer image to the desktop, all I need to do is to do this gesture, go up and then go left, and then you will try to connecting to the access point, and it will say connect the device. When it is connected, then you can see on the computer screen there will be some sort of like this, and then you just say OK, and then you will start transferring the images. Or you can also say you want to import only selected images. Then this is the camera window, by the way, so you can just highlight this and then select image to import, and then you can select what image you would like to import. So these are the images I want to import, and that's it. After you import the image, you will go into Image Browser EX, which is an incredibly useless software. It's even worse than Zoom browsers. But anyway, let us look at the ISO performance of S110. So this image is shooting with the ISO 100. As you can see, it is very clean, no problem. You can zoom in, no problem. This is ISO 200. It's still pretty clean. Like overall, the image is very sharp. This is a 400, ISO 400. Not much different from 200. This would be ISO 800. So you can see at the background the noise is a little bit more visible, a little bit of color noise, and in the shadow area it's slightly noisy, but it's perfectly fine. And this would be ISO 1600. So up to 1600, the image seems to be kind of pretty good too. Like you can see a little bit blurry in the outline of the head, but otherwise there's a little bit watercolor in here. So, but it's still pretty good. And this one should be 3200. So even up to ISO 3200, like the image still kind of usable. It's the watercolor is more visible, not as good as ISO 200 or 100, but perfectly fine. This would be 3200, so it's really a high ISO, and you can see the image start to degrade. So 3200, I think I would draw the line here for using a usable image. And this one would be 6400, ISO 6400, and the noise is very obvious, as you can see from here. And finally, this one is 128,000. As you can see, the image itself is very noisy, but I mean, if you are in a really emergency, I guess you can still use it. Let's go back again. So 128,000. 6400, 3200, 1600, 800, 400, and finally the 200, the cleanest one. Here's some outdoor picture I've taken yesterday. So this is taken from the on the mountains. This is Mountain Baker, and the image quality for this is ISO 80. It seems to be okay. And let's look at another image. This is the sunset, also ISO 80. It's okay. And then this is another image for Mountain Baker. Another image. As you can see, this is the dynamic the dynamic range of this the Canon S110 is actually very good. Like you can see the darker area of the snow, the trees, and the whiter area of the snow and the sky, they are both visible. So that's a very good performance. Another image for the snow. So by the way, this image has been processed. If you want to see the unprocessed image, so this is the original image. So you can see it's still okay. I mean, it's just not as contrasty as the image that has been processed. So if I take the processing ones, so this is processed using the Lightroom. So after that, the image looks much better. So this is ISO 400. As you can see, it's still okay. There's no not too many noise. This is ISO 125. Another thing is the dynamic range in here. As you can see, the car and the trees and the chateau, they both look kind of visible. Another image of the sunset, and that's the last one. It's using ISO 80. So overall, the image quality is pretty decent for Canon S110.